Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So there is this small game, indie game, that is called a Cyberpunk ghost story. Have here sans and something here written in Cantonese or Mandarin. And you can see here that the game has, not so much reviews, around 103 reviews, mostly positive, and the recent reviews are very positive. So yeah, and it says that it is a 2.5D horror game inspired by Clock Tower and Fatal Frame, two really good games to be inspired from. And it says here, mixing cyberpunk with traditional Cantonese folklore. So yeah, so this should be Cantonese here from Hong Kong. With careful attention to pacing, atmosphere and storytelling, Sense hopes to return the horror genre to its roots by celebrating visceral horror and the slow, fearful creep of dread. And you can see that this game here, looks pretty spicy as far as characters are concerned, and it is coming to the Switch. And some people don't have a life, and they follow every game there that's going to come to every platform, and they talk about it, and not actually, like talking about the game and giving a review or whatnot. It's more like trying to intimidate the developers and trying to make censorship to this game, because you see here that the game has some characters that are not, very appealing to the Puritans in Twitter. There is another picture here, so, big bobs are a big no-no when it comes to these people. And then the studio for this game released an official statement here. It says, official statement regarding calls demanding censorship of Sans, a cyberpunk ghost story. And here they say, our commitment to our audience and to developers is we will never infringe on creative freedom or expression. This is really bold. I applaud them for that, because not so many companies out there and game developers and makers take a stance like this, let alone a small indie game. Even big companies like hypocrites like Sony and others just bend the knee to censorship, especially Sony. They have went too far with the censorship. And here is the statement, and it says, statement regarding censorship demands of Sans, a cyberpunk ghost story. With the recent news of Sans, a cyberpunk ghost story coming to Nintendo Switch, we are aware of a large amount of messages and demands aimed towards the game's console platform release based on lies. Claims that it explicitly, spiciness, or somehow encouraging bad behavior, or most ridiculously somehow breaks the law. So yeah, these people will use lies, will use anything to their advantage in order to intimidate people, or in order to intimidate game makers and game developers. Furthermore, voices have attempted to advocate making sale of the game untenable through demanding harsh censorship aimed towards the developer's art style, and with threats to quote-unquote review bomb the game and or harass its distributors. So all of these people who are talking about inclusiveness and talking about, being nice to everyone, are threatening to review bomb the game and are threatening to go after the distributors. In this case, it's the Nintendo company and the Nintendo Switch console. So yeah, this is very, very inclusive, and this is very amnestic. In addition, we have received death threats from those who feel threatened by what essentially boils down to an aesthetic decision of how pixels are arranged on a screen. While disappointed at these behaviors, we are certainly not surprised. Yeah, you shouldn't be, because these people are rotten to the core and they're cowards. They're not going to do any threat that they're saying there, except for probably review bombing. But again, I would highly encourage anyone who buys this game on the Switch, to leave a review. I'm not going to say like positive or negative, but if you liked the game, just leave a review about the things that you liked. And if you didn't like the game, just leave a review of the things that you didn't like, and not just pixels arranged on screen. This one is, gold. This is really a cool way of saying it, because some people are getting triggered over how some characters are being portrayed. Let us be clear on this. We will not censor the game because of self-centered crowds who care solely, more like herds, or, these are not crowds, these are mobs, if you ask me, who care solely about grandstanding. We categorically and absolutely refuse to restrict creative expression. Creators should be allowed freedom to express themselves, particularly when it is an expression of the subcultures they have been immersed in. Yeah, because they don't know about the subculture of this game, and they somehow try to attack the developers because they chose to portray characters in a certain way, and the Puritans in Twitter, the very vocal yet very small minority in there doesn't care about the game lore, doesn't care about anything. They just want to censor, censor, and censor. As a cyberpunk game, Sense uses imagery and themes relating to the future of hyper commercialized over commodified imagery as part of its cyberpunk theme and inspiration. So there it is. Here they're explaining why they're using this kind of artwork and why they're portraying characters the way they do. This is reflected in all character designs. With that said, we expect that this is lost on those attacking the developer for being quote-unquote harmful and somehow inflicting quote-unquote pain and violence. Those who believe words or images inflict quote-unquote violence should perhaps stop spurting their own hateful false rhetoric and also condoning the threats to those they disgrace with. So you can see here that this statement is pretty straightforward, no bending the knee. We're explaining how things are in our game, but we're not going to bend the knee to you just so that you feel, somehow happy because we did what you wanted and not what we wanted, here talking about the developers. We reject any and all aforementioned brazen characterization of the game, and we would like to reiterate our principles against tampering with creators' expression. Yeah, like bravo, man. This is a very well written and a very straightforward statement to those people there in Twitter who only seek to destroy. We would also like to reiterate this game is rated ASRB mature, so plus 17 and PG 18. So yeah, this is a mature game. This is not for kids. It is on the Switch, but there is here the rating. So yeah, it falls on the shoulders of the parents if they don't want their kids to play this game. I mean, they shouldn't if they are not 17 plus. So this is it. Why is there a rating here? There are games that are for more adult, so to speak, demographic, and there are games for kids. Otherwise, why do we have this ASRB thing? This is not an AO game, nor have any laws been broken, quote unquote, as some social media commenters have ridiculously claimed out of their biases. Yeah, they're biased, they're always biased, and you can't expect anything else from them except bias. The game's rating reflects the target audience, and yet this fact is lost on those who have been led by a will to blindly crusade against their false perceptions. Yeah, it's a witch hunt. It's a crusade. It's an inquisition. You can call it whatever you want because it boils down to that. Shutting down people's mouths and not letting them express themselves and their ideas in the way that they see fit and not what some minority sees fit. Once again, since a Cyberpunk Ghost Story is rated 17 plus and PG 18, the game will release as planned without censorship on the 7th of January 2021 for Nintendo Switch. It can be pre-ordered and preloaded now on the Nintendo eShop. This game has passed QA on other platforms and release dates are being decided. This game will not be censored. We categorically refuse. Thank you very much for doing so, and I hope your game succeeds and sells well because you deserve a chance to make your game shine and to make people talk about your game. And hopefully this stupid crusade from those Puritans there in Twitter would result in better sales for this game studio because, man, they're really brave. You don't see this kind of behavior every day, especially from game publishers and the makers. I applaud them. I commend their courage to just refuse to bend the knee. And you can see here that it has got a lot of likes, 12.4K likes and 3,000 retweets. Hopefully this also helps the game like a marketing campaign for it. And you see here that there are a lot of people just thanking the game studio, you know, for what they have done, for standing, for refusing to bend the knee and not letting these Puritans decide what the game should look like or should play like. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe for more. If you're into this kind of games, this kind of visual story game that has horror aspect of it and you can buy the game, I would encourage you to do so either on Steam or on the Nintendo Switch. Doesn't matter, even though Nintendo has been attacked mostly because this game has already been there on Steam and no one cared really. So yeah, thanks again for watching and I will talk to you again soon. Have a good one.